Hello everyone, welcome back to Pwn TV. It's your host, Mr. Overgriff, and in this video I would like to talk about internet bullying, honestly. So you guys probably are well aware of what I've done in Final Fantasy XI and on other games outside of Final Fantasy XI due to my Facebook and my YouTube and my Twitch. And basically my social media in general kind of gives you guys a lot of information about what's going on in my life. Well, it should be no surprise to any of you that on all of my social media platforms, at one point or another, there's internet bullying that takes place. And I'm not a snowflake by any stretch of the imagination. I can take anything that you have to say and handle it pretty well, but I would like to make some observations about some things that I have noticed that players do on video games that I feel like is a bit over the top and childish, which I am also guilty of doing in the past, but moving forward I try really hard to not bully anyone on the internet. That's my goal, to not bully anyone on the internet. And I learned a long time ago that the best way to actually do this is get my ass beat in League of Legends. If I get my ass fucking whooped in League of Legends enough times, I learn that it's okay to lose at a video game. Well, I do get my ass beat a lot on Final Fantasy XI by quite a few bosses for quite a few reasons. And so does everyone else, but one thing I've noticed is, similar to League, with Final Fantasy XI, if certain players lose content, if they lose the battlefield and any content, these specific players will, and I won't list any names because I respect people's privacy, but this is a video for you guys particularly because you need to learn that you're being completely, obtusely, verbosely wrong with your social interaction in general. These players, they just get really salty when they lose content, no matter what the reason is. If they lose content and the party members that they had in the content, they maybe kept those particular party members in a high regard or something like that, then it really stresses them out even more when they lose. An example I could give is when I was invited to do Omen a few days ago. I went in and I was asked to bring White Mage. I have a pretty good White Mage Lua. I have a pretty good understanding of the boss fight. I have a pretty good understanding of how to play the White Mage role in that boss fight. And we still lost. And I wasn't perfect with everything that I did. Definitely room for improvement in that particular fight. As, you know, as the White Mage, I could have definitely improved. But I had half the party tear me a new one for being bad at White Mage, and I had the other half of the party tear them a new one for bullying the White Mage. Now, honestly guys, here's the thing. Everyone in the party was the result, like, everyone was to blame for why any battlefield ever got lost. It's everyone in the party's responsibility to win. Similar with League of Legends, it's a 5v5 team game. It requires all 5, or probably 4, but you know, the whole team needs to really be involved in the decision making that results in the good plays that will get you the game, get you the victory. Same is true with Final Fantasy XI and every other game you'll ever play with party members. Okay, if you have any teammate at all, realize that it is a team event, and that means that you're responsible just the same as everyone else to actually complete the content. Why am I making a note of this? It should be obvious, right? Well, in the particular Omen fight that I went White Mage to recently, and I lost, I ran out of mana. I was told that I didn't have the right gear, and I was laughed at for not having the right gear. Even though the gear that I did have was pretty much second best, when you looked at both of the two items in a vacuum, they were almost identical. The one that I didn't have would have been slightly better. My point being that even if I had slightly improved that particular piece of equipment and had access to that slight improvement on my character, I still would have ran out of mana. And here's why. Because that particular gear actually refreshes your mana when you cast curing spells, healing magic. But I was actually casting raise spells. I was raising a lot of people. raised spells were what actually tapped me out of mana and inevitably cost us that particular win. People died. People spent the white mage's mana by getting revived several times. Nothing in the game could have stopped the white mage from tapping out in that situation. So the argument's kind of an invalid argument if you look at it from all angles, basically. And so people seem to jump to conclusions without having all the facts or knowing all the facts beforehand, or they're just biased because they already have a reason to dislike you for some reason. One reason or another, they have something on you that they just want to hate you so badly, and the moment you do something wrong, they're going to call you on it, and that's going to basically change the entire outcome of the entire event. Moving forward, they're going to be in a completely different mindset, which will cause them to make mistakes as well, which will affect the whole party, and it starts falling apart. So the best advice I can give, if you're in a party with someone that you don't like, or that you know you're going to get mad at when they start fucking up, the best advice I can give you is to tolerate anything that they're doing, tolerate it, tune it out, and play the best that you can play. Be the best that you can be. Don't make comments in party chat during the battlefield. Like when you're actually fighting the boss, don't make comments in party chat about how this particular player sucks, or why would you do that? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? A lot of the times, if your white mage is struggling in your party, if you start chatting with them while they're struggling, you're not helping them get better at that particular battle. You're actually hindering them from playing better, because now you're actually distracting them from what they were originally trying to do, which was play the job correctly. This goes for every job, not just white mage. If anyone in your party is struggling to actually play their role in the party correctly, if you start distracting them with stupid comments like, why would you do that? Why did you do this 5 minutes ago? Why is it that 2 levels ago you did this? When you start making these comments about things that already happened and can't be fixed at this point moving forward, that's stuff you should save, put it in a little bottle, save it until after the battle is done, and then make those comments. Be like, look, now that you're not doing anything, now that we have a brief moment, a small interlude, now I need to let you know that you should have probably been wearing refresh gear while you were idling, or you should have probably curse nudged the paladin while he had doom on him, or something like that. That's the moment where you're going to actually hammer it home to those players. This is why I think you caused us to lose. You need to break it down for these players why you think they caused you to lose the content, and how you think that they can improve the next time you do the content with them. Otherwise, why are you communicating with them? If you plan on never partying with that person again, your comments should not even be made, because they're not going to be constructive. If they are constructive, well, that's a miracle. But even so, if you've chosen already to not play with the person again, why would you even try to help them up their game? Because they're not going to help you for the entire... You're going to deliberately avoid playing with somebody while also helping them? That doesn't make any sense. So my perspective on this is, help the players when you can help the players without distracting the players, and keep your negative comments until after the event is over and you're no longer in the party. Because while you're in the party, negativity is going to affect the whole party, not just the person you're directing it to. Definitely save your comments for after the event is done. Definitely something I don't see enough of that I would like to see in the future on all of these games that I play. Alright, so that's just one example of ways to improve, and a hypothetical, well, not a hypothetical, but a little history of my Omen experience this week. Let me talk about another experience I had this week that's quite similar to the Omen one. We get into Dynamis Divergence. This is really difficult content. I think it's item level 139 or something like that. It's really difficult content. It's Dynamis. It's known for killing all the party members in the party. So I go Thief sub White Mage. I needed the clear for my Thief, and I told my party members that we were going to have a small group, so everyone needed to make sure they were able to heal themselves. We get to the entrance of the Dynamis, and I click on the little thing. With 5 players, we go into this Dynamis group. I click on the little thing, and I send us in. And while we're being warped in, I make a small comment in the party chat, and I explain to them, I'm paraphrasing when I say this, I explain to them that I really only need the entrance credit. I don't actually need to kill the boss, but I planned on killing the boss. That was why I put the party together, was to kill the boss. And I've killed the boss before, so I knew how I was going to do it, and I brought this group. It was really a really small skin and bones group, and we didn't have all the jobs we needed to actually complete the content to the best of our ability, but we did try as hard as we could with what we had to complete the content. Well, we get into Dynamis, and the very first thing my samurai says to me is, I can't believe you made us waste our tags. You literally just sent us in claiming we were going to do the boss, and then you made a comment that you only needed to enter the Dynamis zone and you had no intention of killing the boss. Like, you changed last minute, you lied to us is what he said. He said, you deceived us all. You deceived us all, you lied to us. He's jumping to these conclusions saying I lied to him because I promised a boss fight, but then after it was too late to back out of the party while we were zoning in, I changed it from promising a boss fight to actually just explaining to them that I only really want to enter the zone and get credit. Well, obviously I wanted to kill the boss because that's killing two birds with one stone in my case. I did need credit, but I also needed to enter the zone. So I was trying to explain to my party that I didn't care if we beat the boss or not. I explained to them that I really only wanted to go into Dynamis and use my 60-hour rechargeable item that I can do once per 60 hours, and that was to go into Dynamis, use the 60-hour cooldown that I had on Dynamis, and do something in Dynamis, and then 60 hours later go back into Dynamis and do something else. Alright, that was my plan, okay? And I told them this last minute, and he just jumped to conclusions, and he's just like, I can't believe you would lie to all of us like that. Who does that? You're so selfish. He called me selfish, and all these things, and I'm like, look, you're not understanding any of this. And then a minute into this Dynamis fight, we all wipe. At least I did. I died. And the moment that I died, he started raising hell again. He started raising hell. Man, I just can't believe you suckered me into coming into Dynamis and made me waste my my key item. And I'm like, what are you... I didn't say anything to him. I refused to actually answer anything he was saying because I saw the negativity in the chat and I wasn't having any of it. So I ignored him. But at the end of the event, I talked to him a little bit while he was still livid. But one thing I noticed is when the event was going smoothly, when people were not dying and we were killing boss after boss, he wasn't complaining. No one was complaining. But when anything went wrong, when life happened, he lost his shit. He lost his shit, you guys. And he's just like, I cannot believe that you suckered me into wasting my charge. Like, it's the end of the world. No, excuse you, it's only 60 hours before you can go back in and try again. What's the big deal? When you have a 60-hour wait time on an event, that's not the end of the world. Why do you think it's such a big deal that you died in Dynamis? Die is part of the name of Dynamis. It's literally what Dynamis starts with. Like, people die in Dynamis. This happens. This has happened since old Dynamis at level 75. You die in this zone. That's just what happens. Why do you think I went Thief White Mage? Why would I sub White Mage on a Thief? Because obviously we're planning on dying. That's why I subbed White Mage. And I was able to re-raise so many times because I subbed White Mage. And we made it to the boss, even though I disconnected like 3 or 4 times that event. Disconnected, had to restart the computer in a timed event while I was summoning the trusts, which means the party lost all of the trusts as well. This sucked for us, you guys. There were so many things that went wrong in the event that these people were just getting tilted, particularly the samurai, about all these little things. But I kept my cool. I'm like, I'm logging back in now. I'm going to join you guys. Alright, heads up, I might disconnect again. Can you please take party leader and summon the trusts yourself? Sure, okay. So these people are connecting with me. Half the party, again, is connecting with me. Not a problem. The other half, completely negative. Very, very, very angry at the fact that they're in a party with me right now. Why would you join in the first place if all you wanted to do was be negative the entire night? Why would you do that to yourself is the question. See, people don't realize that they're wasting their own time when they party up with people, okay? You're not guaranteed a win when you party up with anybody in this game. You have to be able to accept a loss. That goes for any game. And that's what these people are not understanding, is that losing is part of the learning process and part of the experience of playing these MMOs. If you don't lose and you always win, how are you going to react when you finally do lose? Well, you're going to lose your shit because you're used to winning. Well, you shouldn't be used to winning. If you're used to winning, then the content is not challenging enough. And I don't know why you're still playing it. I like playing this content because I like challenging myself and improving my mechanics on these battlefields. And I guess those are the two major examples that I have for you this week on how people I feel like are being really negative when they could be much less negative. I feel like in both of those cases, these particular players, they had to have something deep down outside of the party that they were just, it was really annoying them that day. And it didn't help that they joined a party with me. That was the thing. It feels to me like because they joined my party and I let them down, well, and actually the party let them down, not just me, obviously, that really tilted them. Really, really tilted them. And I learned a long time ago that the best solution is to just not get tilted. Don't get tilted. No matter what anybody does, no matter what boneheaded plays they make, even if they blame you after making a boneheaded play. Perfect example, League of Legends. Just a couple days ago, I was playing Katarina. Katarina is an assassin in that game. Like a blue mage, she bursts things down and tries to run away before she dies. Alright? So Katarina, I'm 0-0-0, meaning the game had just started, I had not killed anyone, I had not died, and I had not assisted anyone in getting a kill for our team. So 0-0-0 KDA. We go into the enemy's territory, past our side of the map, onto their side of the map, completely reckless at level 1, nobody was coordinated. I watch our jungler get killed. I end up actually netting our top laner a kill while the jungler is dying, and so I was 0-0-1. Okay, we're still in the enemy jungle, and the score is 1-1 at the moment. So in this situation, tie game, 1-1, and I haven't died yet. So then I'm leaving the jungle. Then the mid laner, Brand, he comes in to the enemy jungle, I guess because he thought we were fighting, but I was trying to help my top laner get out because the jungler had just died. And so Brand goes in, Brand gets caught, and I try my best to really stay close enough to him to where I can actually use my ability that I started with to try to help discourage the enemy team from collapsing on him and killing him. So I got as close as I could to him, and I did everything I could possibly do to actually discourage the enemy team from actually attacking and killing the Brand. Well, that required me to use all my summoners and everything. So I used my Ignite, I used my Flash, I had, I don't know, a lot of things that I was just, my Q was on cooldown, I had nothing that I could do at this stage in the game. And Brand was also there, and I guess he assumed that because I used summoner spells that I was going to all in and basically force my character to die and get a kill. Well, that wasn't the case. I was honestly trying to keep everyone off of Brand. Like I said, Brand didn't know that. So Brand kept going all in, and eventually he went way too deep while I was on cooldowns. And I didn't get a kill when I used all of my abilities, I just made someone run away, which was the point. Well, Brand died to another player that didn't run away, and it was basically he got collapsed on. I couldn't help him. We were in enemy territory, just the two of us. I had already lost the jungler, the top laner had already left, Brand was alone. I was the only one there to help Brand. Why would I let the enemy team kill both of us? So Brand dies, and I walk out. I walk out of the enemy territory, I shake my head about how stupid that entire play was. Now the score's 2-1. I'm still 0-0-1. Yet, both of the players that died blamed me in particular for actually dying. They said it was my fault that they died. They said, report me. Report Katarina. She's the one that is trolling. I was 0-0-1 at the time. Later on, in that same game, I scored 2-2-2, meaning I had killed 2 players, died twice, and had 2 assists. Pretty good score for early game. And I was still working really hard to actually stay in control of that game. They were still trolling me, while all being negative, while all having no kills and a bunch of deaths. They were still trolling me. We lose this game, of course. That was expected. I expected us to lose. When Brand died the first time, and I was shaking my head because he was making boneheaded plays, and then when he started blaming me afterward for why he died, that was when I know we were going to lose. When the teammates on your team don't understand the mechanics at work in the game that they're playing well enough to understand that they are the reason that you are failing, they have something to do with why you're failing, they are to blame just as much, if not more so than you, as to why you're failing at the content. If they can't see that, there is no hope for them moving forward. They are not going to be able to win that game, okay? This goes for all games. All games. You have to have confidence when you play a game. You have to have character when you play a game. You have to have principles when you play a game. And you honestly should be courteous to other players that you play with on your team. A player that is not tilted is more likely to help you win the content than a player that is tilted, in fact, okay? This was the exact situation with the league game. Brand was tilted. I think it was a Warwick jungler. He was also tilted. This was the same thing with Dynamis. The Samurai was tilted. He did not help us win the content. This was the same thing with Omen. People were tilted. They just didn't like the fact that I brought a white mage that didn't have particular gear that they needed, which they honestly didn't. I've beaten that content so many times that I think that I was just fine. I did very well. I feel like I had room for improvement, but it was not my fault we lost. In the Dynamis, it's definitely not my fault we lost. And in the League of Legends game, it was not my fault that we lost as well. As far as I can tell, having played so many thousands of games before, with that content in mind and all of the mechanics I had in the game that I was working with, I just knew that I was not the one to blame in these situations. I know when there's something that I could be doing better, or when it is actually my fault. Like, for example, the Omen, moving back to the Omen Final Fantasy XI battle that we did. We were fighting in Omen. We were on the 3rd floor. We got the boss that actually does Pain Sink, which is an area of effect damage to everyone based on the amount of damage that the boss received while he was preparing the ability. He deflects all of the damage back, basically. Well, everyone in our party took 4,000 damage. The reason why everyone in our party took 4,000 damage is because the DPS in our party was dealing damage while Pain Sink was charging, like he's not supposed to. And thus, everyone died. 4,000 damage across the board. When everyone has 2,000 or less HP, that's a wipe. We all died. We lost a lot of time because of that. That had nothing to do with my White Mage gameplay at all. That was completely the DPS's fault. And yet that was not mentioned the entire run. The entire run, it was all my fault, apparently, because I was the White Mage, and that was my fault that everyone died. I'm sorry, but if you get AoE'd for 200% of the HP you actually have on your character, the White Mage can't cure you, bro. It's totally not the White Mage's fault. By the way, why did you get hit for 200% of your max HP? Because you don't know the game mechanics? Because you want to actually swing at the boss while he's charging a move that will kill us if you swing at the boss? And that's the White Mage's fault again? What am I supposed to do? Charm you and stop you from attacking the boss? Because I have that ability, right? Like, what? Like, are you serious? So people, they don't understand the mechanics. So I guess if you take anything from this video, take these little bits of advice. The more you understand the game mechanics, and the more you encourage your party to actually be successful, the more likely you're going to have to win the content in general. That should go without saying, but clearly it's not, so I want to say it here. I want to make sure all of my viewers get to see me saying it here. That's what you need to do. Moving forward, you need to actually be courteous of your party members. Treat them like they are family, because you will play with them again. This is a server. Everyone stays on it. Everyone logs in every day. It's not like you're going to be able to log into a completely different game tomorrow. It's going to be the same game with the same players every single time you log in. I don't care how big the server is. You're going to run into these players again. And if you're that guy that holds all these grudges about this stupid, trivial shit, you're not going to make very many friends in the game, A. B, you're not going to get very much of the content done, because nobody's going to want to play with you when you tell them that they're playing like shit all the time, when in fact they're actually not playing like shit. You're just having a bad day and need to vent. Alright? On the receiving end, however, if you're the guy that's being bullied on any of these games, just simply ignore it. Or troll the opponent. Troll the player back. Troll the player back and be like, oh yeah, you're right. I am a pretty shit white mage. Oh yeah, you're right. It's totally my fault. You got pain synced for 4,000 damage. I didn't cure enough. My bad. I shouldn't have casted Holy on the boss while he was prepping the pain sync. I shouldn't have done 40 damage with my Holy spell. But I did. Totally my bad. You know, just troll them. Let them know in some way, shape, or form, and let the rest of your party know that it doesn't bother you that they're mad at you, and B, that it's actually not all your fault in the first place. But do this sparingly while you're in the content, because like I said earlier, people get distracted easily in this game, especially if they're already struggling. Don't make it more difficult for them to win the content. Understand that this is a spectrum of players on this game, of varying skill levels, I guess I should say, and even though they can come the job that you're requesting, that's not going to guarantee that that's the job that they mainly play. For example, I can bring a white mage, but I don't mainly play white mage, and my white mage needs work. I will admit to this. That doesn't mean that I can't do the content on white mage, which does mean that I will bring the white mage if needed and try to win the content with the white mage. And whether or not we wipe might be based on my overestimation of my ability at playing the white mage in that particular event, but it also might be because the rest of my party just kept getting hit for infinite damage because they don't know what a tank set is. So just think about it. There's a lot of reasons why people lose content that nobody talks about, and these things need to just be pointed out. You need to shed some light on all of the issues that caused you to lose the content. I like to watch the replays of all of the battles that I lose, so I have a really better understanding of how exactly I lost the content, so then I can catch things like, oh, I lost because the samurai did a weapon skill while Pain Sync was charging. Oh, I lost because I was the only person that had re-raise up and I raised while he was doing a TP move. Oh, I lost because we ran out of time because everyone was weak for so long because we got hit by a TP move and I wasn't paying attention and I didn't Curaga 4 or Curaga 5 fast enough. Little things, any of these little things that actually you find in hindsight helps you actually get better at the game in general. And if everyone took more time to study their weaknesses in this game, you would win a lot more content in all of your games moving forward, and you'd be a happier player. You'd have a happier life, much less stress, very more wins, so many more wins, you guys. All right, but that's it. That's all I have to talk about in this video. Thank you guys so much for listening to my spiel on this topic, internet bullying. Understand that you cannot get to me. This is for those of you who think that internet bullying is the best way to troll Pwnsalot. You can't get to me, dude. I'm untouchable, okay? I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna treat it as you're an idiot because I'm smarter than you. That's just my mentality. I do enough fucking studying on a lot of the shit that I do in these games to understand that I'm not all wrong. Yeah, I have been proven wrong before. I will admit when I'm wrong, but in most cases, guys, I believe myself before I believe you. And I hate to say it, but that's gonna be everyone. Everyone's like that. That's just natural human behavior. You know that you're right when no one can prove that you're wrong. So that sticks in your head. You just simply know that you're right. Whether or not you actually are right, you don't find that out until way later. And in hindsight, it's hilarious because you thought you were right the whole time. You knew you were right the whole time and simply you were wrong. And so maybe that is me on a lot of stuff. But unless I can have an actual conversation about it with players that have an intellectual conversation with me about it, then I won't know for sure, and I'll just think that you're an idiot. Like, if all you have to say is it's your fault that we lost, nobody's gonna really take that argument. You have to have a much better argument than that if you're going to actually communicate with players in a negative way of any kind. That's what you need to do. And we're going to end it here, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks so much. Have a good one. And please, just have fun playing these games. 60 hours is not a long time to wait to get back into the content that I actually got you to lose, okay? So play with me again in 60 hours and maybe you'll have better luck then. Peace.